5 NFL picks in 60 seconds for Sunday, week 4. Yes, that's the concept. If you don't understand, well, here you go. We'll dive into the first one. Caleb Williams, over 31.5 pass attempts, minus 105 on Fanatics, a 1-unit play. Obviously, Caleb Williams, the starting QB for the Bears. You can start my timer now. I have 60 seconds to try to convince you guys to bet on it. Now, Caleb Williams has only hit this over in one game this season. That was week 1 against the Vikings with 35 pass attempts. The last 2 games have been a little bit weird. We obviously know the week 2 loss to the Lions where they gave up 50 points. And then he got benched. And then in week 3, a very good game, very efficient game, a lot of deep balls against the Cowboys, and they smoked the Cowboys. So he only had 5 pass attempts in the fourth quarter. Now we see him enter this game in a pick'em against the Raiders on the road. Who knows if the Bears win or lose this game? I think it is competitive, and I think the Raiders are going to be able to put up points. Now, QBs versus the Raiders have only actually hit this over in one game as well. 46 pass attempts to Drake May in week 1. For the last 2 games, they saw a blowout by the Chargers and a blowout by the Commanders. I think this is a tight game. I think they lean on the arm. Also, DeAndre Swift still with his hip injury, should play though. And I really think you're going to see Ben Johnson call up some more pass plays. Also, you look at a guy like Max Crosby coming off the edge, should get Caleb Williams to get the ball out of his hands quickly instead of some big plays. So first play of the week, over 31.5 pass attempts. I certainly think that will get the job done. Caleb, we don't need you to be super efficient, but we need you to extend some drives on third down. That's all we need. I love that over. Before we dive into the second play, we have a bunch of other videos. If you have not tapped into the Call on Our Shot channel, my name is Austin. Thank you as always for tuning in. We have a couple other videos. I talk about them all the time. This one is a video we talk all about every single game on Sunday and give your favorite side or total. So maybe you're only into like game picks, you like betting spreads, money lines and stuff like that. That is the video for you, but don't click off this one. Stay tuned for the end of this video because we have some good money coming your guys' way. And then also this is our other play where we give out our video where we give out our plus 3,200 touchdown parlay of the week. If you tailed them last year, you absolutely cooked the books. This year, we still cashed one of the first 3, and they're always going to be very good plus money. You can check those videos out. Both are live and linked down below. Let's get into my second prop. Why not? Sound good to you? Here we go. The second one, a receptions prop. It's all about Tetero McMillan, the rookie. I'd like his over 4.5 receptions at minus 118 on FanDuel, a 1-unit play. Now, I'm only taking the receptions. You could take the receiving yards. I like both of them, but I think the receptions is the better way to go here, and I think there's a chance you could ladder him to 6, 7, maybe even 8 receptions. Let's talk about why I love this matchup in New England. Start my timer. Now, Tetero McMillan has had a pretty good start to his season, and I really don't think this line should be at 4.5. Definitely not at minus 118. Maybe at like minus 150, but minus 118 is just criminal. You've seen him get the target so far this season. 9, 10, and 8 targets, and even 8 targets last week when they smoked the Falcons 30-0. Now they find themselves as 5.5-point dogs to the Patriots. The Patriots secondary has been pretty weak. They should get back Christian Gonzalez, their best cornerback. And while Christian Gonzalez is a great young player, great cornerback, I think that's going to leave him one-on-one on Tetero McMillan. And I'm pretty confident with Bryce Young, who looks Tet's way a ton. He's going to be chucking it to him, and I think we'll get a ton of targets. I think the receptions will be there, and the Patriots have actually quietly been a very good run defense. 2.6 yards per carry allowed to running backs, second lowest. So again, love Tetero McMillan. I think he easily gets 5 receptions. Do I think he gets 60, 70 yards? Maybe. That's where his line is. I think the receptions is a better play, given he probably gets that one-on-one coverage. Hopefully we get some curl routes and stuff like that. Oh, I forgot to mention Xavier Legette, the Panthers' second-year wide receiver, also out for this game. They're going to need someone to step up. Underdogs, if they're trailing, Tet, 5 receptions. Now, obviously, we have a bunch of plays in this video, 5 of them to be exact, but we have a bunch of other extra plays if you're interested in them. And if you haven't been tailing those ones, I hate to pull up this graphic again to rub it in, but the Dub Club exclusive plays, that's our VIP service where we give you every single play that we're betting. And there are a couple exclusive ones this week. We have yet to lose a Dub Club VIP exclusive prop. And man, I hope to continue that this week. We got a couple for you all if you're in there. We have 2 1-unit player props that have already been posted. We also have a long shot parlay that has not yet been posted, but we posted Sunday morning. It won't include the Vikings and Steelers game in case you're watching this video after the game's tipped off. You're like, I don't really want to join if that parlay is already there. No, it'll be in the later game. So again, join. It's only $5 for your first month. There's tons of exclusive perks. Get access to the community, chat with us, sweat out things, sweat out the ladder challenge, all that stuff. Again, it's only $5 for your first month. That'll carry you into the NBA, which is I would argue, my best sport. But let's dive into things. Let's go to a third play, a little bit plus money here. Let's talk with these two fellas. We got Brock Bowers and DJ Moore, obviously in the same game that we already touched on with Caleb Williams. I need both of them to record Only 5 receiving yards in the first quarter. This is plus 170 on DraftKings. If you don't know where to find this on DraftKings before you even start my timer, it's normally under the receiving props tab. I think if you scroll all the way down, it is there. Another perk to the join of the Dub Club is I do post like quick links for stuff like this. Also in the Dub Club, you can just add a bot in the Discord and it will automatically cook up a slip for you to just send to your friends if you want to. Anyways, enough talking about that. Plus 170, only a half unit play here. Let's talk with these two fellas. We obviously know these two guys are well known. I mean, Brock Bowers and DJ Moore, you have heard of those guys. Brock Bowers looks to be finally healthy. I don't know if he's 100% healthy, let's be honest, but he's logged full practices this week, a little bit better than last week when he did a bunch of limited practices. And I really think he's got a great matchup here against the Bears secondary. The Bears secondary, not great. Obviously down Jalen Johnson probably for the year. So you see them playing deep. We saw Jake Ferguson last week with 13 receptions against the Bears. I think Brock can get us 5 yards in the first quarter. We don't even get 25. 5. And then DJ Moore, he's normally the guy that Caleb Williams looks for when he's under pressure. And I already talked about Max Crosby forcing the ball out of there quickly. I know Rome Odunze has kind of leapfrogged DJ Moore in the pecking order, but I still think DJ Moore is still a reliable guy. He's a guy they throw screen passes to as well, which we only need 5 passes, 5 yards. Maybe that comes on a 3rd and 17. They're like, hey, we'll just get out to DJ Moore, see if he can do something. I love this one. So again, 2 guys, both 5 yards in the first quarter. I meant to note FanDuel will post props like this, and they probably do by the time this video is live. When I'm recording it, they don't have them listed, but you should get a similar line for this. I don't know if it's like plus 130, plus 170. I have no idea, but normally they'll post it under the quarter props, and you'll be able to do some alt lines like this for DJ and Brock Bowers, 5 apiece. Get the job done. Before getting to our 4th and 5th plays, we will need a couple more legs to put onto our Underdog slip. And if you don't know about Underdog, what are you doing? Underdog right now, and I would argue now is probably the best time to sign up for Underdog. The first reason before we get into these promos is if you play $5, they're giving you $100 in bonus funds. They never do this. I'll be honest. They never do it. And you got to make sure you use my code COS. Maybe they're just being kind to our community. They never really do offers like this. Play 5, get $100 in bonus funds. That is a no-brainer offer. If that's not good enough, they'll also give you a 50% boost on the Dublin, Ireland game. They'll give you 2 gimme picks for everyone. I'm a longtime customer of Underdog. They even gave me the Dak Prescott free pick. Give you one for Bo Nix on Monday Night Football as well. Again, now is the time. If you've never joined, here are all the states that Underdog's in. If it's in your state, you should join. We cashed last week's Underdog slip. We're going to cash this week, which I'll touch on in a second, but we need a couple more player props to get to it. Here we go. Aaron Rodgers. Let's get some unders in here. Come on, my under crowd. Under 34.5 yards for his longest completion. Yeah, we're heading out to Dublin, Ireland. Maybe by the time you're watching this, Aaron Rodgers has completed a 35-yard or longer pass. And if that is the case, well, hey, just move on to the next pick because GG. But I don't think this is a great matchup for Rodgers, especially for the deep ball. We think about Rodgers. You know what? I didn't start my timer yet. Shame on me. All right, Rodgers, we know he's playing out in Dublin, Ireland, but I don't see this as a great matchup for him. And there's a couple different reasons why. The number big one is the Vikings are a team that heavy blitzes. So they blitz a ton. They like to get pressure. And although they're dealing with some injuries, they will still blitz. But while they blitz, it's not like they're leaving everyone on an island. They still play their 2 high coverage safety where the 2 high coverage where the safeties are back. So again, not a lot of deep balls are completed against them. Hence why this season, every single QB has gone under this line with a 31, 21, and a 28-yard completion. 7 straight QBs have gone under their longest completion line against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, we know Rodgers doesn't have a ton of juice left in the system, but he really hasn't been throwing it deep. He actually has the 2nd lowest average air yards per pass attempt. Only one lower is Cam Warren. All these things considered, I like it. When he's getting in pressure, he can't really escape like he used to. It's a lot of, hey, I'm getting the ball out of my hands quickly. And he's only hit the over once. And that took a Jalen Warren, like miraculous, like Rodgers extended the play and caught one over his shoulder. Yeah, I mean, I'll live with it if that's the case. I love baiting Rodgers here. Under 34.5 yards for his longest completion. Another 1-unit play. Our 5th and final play of the video before we talk about my Underdog slip is another under. And it involves a guy that played with Rodgers for a large majority of his career. It's Davante Adams under 5.5 receptions. Now, I saved it for last because it's still 1-unit play, but I've seen the lines kind of creep down. I love this one at minus 143, a little bit more juice than I like to do. But with the injury news that has come out for Davante recently on like Friday evening, and I post this Friday in the morning, is that he might be limited a little bit. So this line's starting to creep down to 4.5. I still like it there. But again, the big difference between 4.5 and 5.5, if you only have a 4.5 line, I'm maybe only taking that for a half unit. But I'll still start my timer and talk about Davante and why I'm fading him. This is a real tough matchup for him against the Colts. The Colts have been a really, really stout defense. And where they really are stout on the outside, their cornerbacks, especially on the outside, they rank third defensively versus outside wide receivers. However, they rank 31st in the inside, where you see a lot of Puka Nacua lining up in the slot. Devontae is the guy that lines up on the outside 75 or more percent of the time. And I can't imagine, with given his injury, missing a bunch of practices this week, that they're like, hey, let's throw him in the inside. Let's let him catch one in the middle of the field and get bopped. I don't really think that's the case. We could see him limited a little bit here. He's not really a bubble screen guy. Only one guy this season, one wide receiver, has had 6 or more receptions. It was Troy Franklin. Think about Troy Franklin. He got a bunch of bubble screens and stuff like that, the stuff that Puka Nacua gets, not Devontae Adams. Additionally, in that same game, Troy Franklin, who is a Bronco, his teammate, Cortland Sutton, a big 1 reception on the outside. So again, tough matchup here for Devontae. Like his under 5.5 receptions. No idea where the line moves as the kickoff approaches. I like the under in receptions more than the yards, but you could go yards. But again, he did have one big play last week. So I'd rather just take this under in receptions here. I think it's safer. Give me the under 5.5 minus 143, another 1 unit play. Now, as I said, we got an Underdog slip. Do I need to talk about Underdog anymore? Again, there's all the free promos. Again, you use my code COS or the link down below. You play $5, you get $100 in bonus funds. You can tail this slip. Let's touch on it. Dak Prescott free pick. That's available to everyone. You can have that even if you are an Underdog user. Caleb Williams pass attempts, Devontae less than receptions, and Aaron Rodgers less than 34.5 longest completion. If Rodgers cakes it, you could still tail the other 3 because all those other 3 are, later on in the day. In fact, every single one of those top 3 is 4 p.m. or later Eastern time. So, hey, if maybe Rodgers loses it, maybe you're watching this after the fact, or maybe Rodgers already cashed, you can still tail the other ones. Either way, that is all I got for you. I talked about a bunch of different things in this video. We talked about the Dub Club, where you can get some exclusive props and parlays. You can join. That is the top link in the description. I hope to see a bunch of you guys in there, and we can sweat out the ladder challenge, which I'll have that posted in a little bit on Saturday evening, probably around when this video drops. Is probably when I'm dropping the ladder. We'll also have a bunch of Dub Club, Underdog. All the things are down below in the description. If I talk about it in the video, it's in the description. So again, thank you guys as always. Let's continue to cook the books. Let's cash those Dub Club exclusive plays, but more importantly, let's cash all 5 plays in this video, sweep the board, and have ourselves a wonderful Sunday, week 4. I'll have some Monday Night Football videos later in life, but for now, go check out up here, game picks video down here, more props. And if this video is live, that is day 4 of the ladder challenge, which hopefully you do not miss out on, trying to turn our $80 into $160. I'm out of here. It's Austin. Let's have ourselves a great day. See you in the next one. Peace.